Hey guys, I'm a bit famished. I'm feeling a bit of a craving. For what exactly? I'm thinking something sweet. Wow, thanks. Somebody just handed me this plate of what? My Melody and Kuromi on it. Well, that's pretty freaking sweet. My Melody and Kuromi is a new Netflix original stop motion anime brought to us from WIT Studio. Yes, that WIT Studio. The animators behind AOT seasons 1 through 3, Vivi's Fluorite to Eye song, the upcoming One Piece remake, and many more bangers. It was directed by Tomoki Misato, written by Shuko Nomoto, with music from Yutaka Yamada. Speaking of the music, the series theme song, Kawaii, is performed by K-pop sensations LE SSERAFIM, which, if you didn't know, their name means I'm fearless. It's a play on how it's spelled. The letters in LE SSERAFIM can be spelled out to spell I'm fearless. And I'm a bit of a standboy. I actually react to a lot of their new music on my reaction channel, 88's Reactions, and I didn't know that they were doing a song for this going into checking out that song. So I actually have some pretty entertaining live footage of me realizing this was for this series, courtesy of the reaction channel. Let me show the clip real quick. Oh! Hold on, man. I didn't know this was a Sanrio collab though. Kuromi! Is this a promo for Kuromi and Melody? This is the theme song! Oh shit! Okay. Oh, sorry, the series is My Melody and Kuromi, not the other way around. Yeah, I'm hype as fuck for this. Oh! That makes so much sense, because I was like, this looks like the style of the show from what I've seen the trailers and shit. Dance! The series' purpose is not only to celebrate My Melody's 50th anniversary, but Kuromi's 20th. Finding out that Kuromi is 2 years younger than me is kind of crazy. I just assumed she was around from way back in the day. And just 20 years ago feels to be pretty new in terms of Sanrio character creation. But I digress. This story follows our title characters, My Melody and Kuromi, who run competing cake shops in the town of Maryland. I say competing because while My Melody's is flourishing, Kuromi finds her struggling. Fast forward a tiny bit, My Melody finds a mysterious magical heart and thus kickstarts an array of strange occurrences across the series. That's as far as I'll attempt to make my own little synopsis. I could have copy and pasted the Wikipedia one, but I didn't want to be that guy. Now, I am a Sanrio fan, but I'm low-key fake. I've always been one of those people who just vibes with the designs and the aesthetics and whatnot. As a kid, I never got to watch anything quote-unquote girly, so I didn't get the chance to be heavily invested in anything too cute outside of looking at it and be like, that's cool, I like the vibes. So this was my first time actually watching a piece of Sanrio media with a plot, a story. So it was quite nice actually getting to know some of these characters outside of like music and the 50 million cool ass collabs Sanrio does with my favorite games, series, musicians, etc. And other merchandise in general, like the plushies, the bags, the clothing, the headpieces. You get the picture. The show is 12 episodes, but they are mostly between 11 and 13 minutes, besides the last episode that's a few minutes longer, and they don't feel too standalone, episodic or anything. This isn't like a new plot each week sort of thing. It's one really solid story with minimal tangents. And since they are so short, it just feels like one normal length movie split up. It's actually like 2 hours in total, something like that. So it's definitely bingeable and feels a good enough pace to binge, or at least watch pretty close together for the best experience, as opposed to over a long span of time. Now I get it, we some busy motherfuckers out here. I'm just saying don't take 5 months to finish this. If you want to, I won't stop you. I'm just saying it's definitely built more short term than like long term. Now it took me 3 days, and that's only because I watched it with my mom. If it were me, myself, and I, it would have been a couple hours. I told my mom about it and invited her to watch it with me because I know she loves Sanrio, and it's not very often we find our interests aligning in such a way that we can participate in something together. You know, I like a lot of geeky shit, and for the most part, her activities are social or just actively doing things in general, unlike my recluse self. So this was a nice bonding opportunity that I didn't want to pass up. Not often do I get an excuse to show my mom anime. Now, since it was my mother who has trouble with eyesight and subtitles, I compromised and watched the dub. Normally, I try to watch things in its original form unless told that the dub is some phenomenal masterpiece you must watch now. Then yes, I'll watch it in dub. But normally, if it's a Japanese series, I'll watch in Japanese. If it's Chinese, I'll watch in Chinese, and so on and so forth. Then whenever I rewatch a series, I'll watch it in the language that I didn't the first time, whether it's the original language or the English dub. so I can get the best of both worlds. So while I did watch this in dub, which was well voice acted by the way, enjoyed every performance, nothing felt out of place at all, I will be rewatching it in Japanese. I actually meant to before this review, but there's just way too much new stuff coming out this month, even since that dropped, and even right after this, that will drop. Hell, as I was typing the words for this script last night, Eyes of Wakanda dropped, and in between that and the recording of this video, like 5 or 6 new anime episodes dropped that I gotta watch. It's only been one night, one sleep! And don't get me started on non-animated television and all the summer movies and all the new music, so you get my point. And yes, I could have probably gotten to it, but I didn't want to rush the experience purely just to mention it in part of a video. I already know I like the show. Spoiler for the review, I guess. Yep, I liked it. So I know I'm gonna want to rewatch it at some point, even without it being for the content, because I try to make content off of stuff that I'm interested in and I'm gonna watch anyways, not the other way around. So I decided I will save it for when I'm nice and cozy and it'll be there waiting for me. So sorry that I have nothing to say about the Japanese voice acting at this time, but seeing the talent gathered, and from what I heard in the trailers, I'm sure it slaps. Now let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of this review, shall we? Let's start off with the obvious. Is it any good? Come on now. This shit slaps! One of the best things I've seen all year. The story beats are simple, yet effective, family friendly, but in a way that lulls you into a false sense of security, as there is still emotional and darker undertones that sneak their way in throughout. So anyone can enjoy this. It's perfect for, you know, a parent and child, like me and my mom watched it. Although I guess most people would be watching with a younger child than their 22-year-old son, but you get what I mean. And the reason why I mentioned that anyone can enjoy this is because I hate the thought process that some adults have that if an animation isn't super edgy or purely for adults, this crude humor with raunchiness, then they won't be able to enjoy it, because if it's not Family Guy or Sausage Party or some shit, it's just gonna be this boring kid story with nothing going on that you care about. Like, just because something was made for a younger demographic, it doesn't mean that they didn't put any thought into the storytelling. It can still be very meaningful, which this most definitely is. I think that thought process has gone away a little bit over the past few years with cool ass things like Spider-Verse and people watching those that aren't just children, but it's still definitely there. But yeah, plot, I'm not gonna get too much into it for spoiler purposes, but the plot and the storytelling and the writing was all pretty superb. Adding on to that, part of the writing process is the characters. Obviously, I should start with our title characters, who are a classic example of opposites attract. Not only in character design, but in character. Kuromi I was excited to see because she was the first Sanrio character who truly caught my eye and got me down the rabbit hole a couple years back. I have a couple bags and trinkets of her I find really neat, so now I'll feel even better wearing them, knowing her a bit better now. I loved her journey in this series, and I love how this series handled her. Melody I knew almost nothing about, but this series presents her in a quite straightforward way, while still having those nuances like you find in a lot of these happy-go-lucky characters that are on the outside are one way, but then they still have those self-doubts and question themselves. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a lot of themes throughout the series that tie back to that I'm really happy with how they were done. Also, throughout the series, she refers to sleeping as big sleeps and naps as little sleeps. That's the only way I'm referring to slumber from now on. No more naps, no more good nights. It's a new age now. But yeah, the two of them push each other to their limits socially, whether it's Kuromi getting Melody out of her comfort zone and taking risks, or if it's Melody getting Kuromi out of her comfort zone and smothering her with honest, straight up love that opens her up a bit. As I mentioned at the start of the review, I didn't know anything about these characters outside of the public perception of them. Basically what people around me would say about, you know, oh, this character looks cute, that character looks cute, they seem goofy, but nothing really literary. Nothing concrete. But I was pleasantly surprised with how good the characters I recognized were, and also being shocked at how good some of the characters I didn't know were. Two standouts for me in that regard were Piano, who was a certified crash out at times by the way, and Pistachio, who aura farms so much in this series, but also has probably the most compelling arc in the series, which I won't get into here because of spoilers, but I was super invested. I still can't stop thinking about how well he was written from start to end, literally. I also realized that with that, both of my favorites from this were characters whose name starts with P. So does that mean I have to add, like, Pachaco as a favorite Sanrio character now to keep up the theme? Or Pata Peppy? I don't know, man. Real quickly before moving on, I'll mention this is my first time meeting Flat as well, and he was cool. Salute. But I have to mention these two, Tanva and Sasage. Without giving away plot, I'll just mention they bounce off Kuromi extremely well and are generally hilarious, but within later portions of the plot, they too have a surprising amount of deepness behind them that I did not expect at all, adding to the layers of the series. But now let's talk about the presentation of My Melody and Kuromi, how it is given to you on the screen. The stop motion animation, a style that always greets you like an old friend that you haven't seen in a while whenever you watch something using it. First off, I always commend stop motion because I know it has to be crazy hard work, so just that alone is amazing. The effort going out of your way to do that style as opposed to another style that might be a bit easier. It just looks so outstanding here. I cannot praise it enough. The way that these characters not only move, but how they interact with the world around them. Don't even get me started on the set pieces. Holy moly. Maryland in general was pretty damn cool. I was quite fond of the world they built. I wouldn't be mad calling this the best animated series of summer 2025 anime, if not at least being in the conversation. I actually almost forget that this is technically a summer 2025 anime because Netflix just drops their shows all at once rather than weekly. So it's not like in my weekly anime episodes and stuff, I just watched it all at once. But yeah, animation, goated. And so is the art style. I love how cute and well, Sanrio it is, but it translates very well to the 3D versions of them. And along with the plot, it's a cog in the machine that I mentioned lulls you into thinking that, oh, it's just going to be a cute series with nothing much going on. Then the darker moments come, but it lends itself well to those moments as well, contrasting with the different colors and whatnot. Just overall pretty superb. The sound design is also really good. Not something that I mention very often on this channel, but it just has some really strong SFX throughout within the environments, and when certain things happen and there's items hitting things and stuff, it just all sounds really good, along with a fitting OST within the moments of the series. Look, if there is anything in this series that I haven't mentioned yet, just assume that I think they did it perfectly or at least close. Everything was pretty freaking good. I won't lie. There isn't really anything I could say I strongly dislike about this show enough to mention it here. It is everything I could have wanted from my introduction to the literary Sanrio universe and more. It not only does a great job celebrating the characters with old fans, such as my mom, but also serving as a great introduction for newer fans like myself. Now that I finished this, I'll definitely be checking out other stories like Onegai My Melody, or I don't know, something like Sanrio Boys. I just need more Sanrio! Now normally I do a spoiler section and talk about a bunch of spoilers, but I think I'm gonna leave this one as a normal reviewer's review. I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna see you guys off by saying I recommend this to everyone. Even if it's not what you would normally watch, not really your cup of tea maybe, still give it a few episodes. They are short, and just maybe see. Worst case scenario, it's a bit too sugary for you and you turn it off. Best case scenario, we have new Sanrio fans! I've been Eddie Hates Anime, reviewing yet another banger. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Did you watch My Melody and Kuromi? What'd you think? Was it everything you ever hoped for? Or do you want to gouge your eyes out? Let me know in the comments. No, seriously, I need the engagement. Have a great day, and peace. Bye.